From threatening the Nigerian military with an invasion if they don't hand over power to the former president Bazoum, to begging them to reconsider rejoining ECOWAS when they left in frustration because of crippling sanctions, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso all left ECOWAS to form their own union after they refused to remove sanctions. Now, ECOWAS leaders have done a 180-degree turn and lifted all the sanctions they placed on these countries. They said that they did it based on humanitarian grounds. By the way, the humanitarian grounds existed when they placed all the sanctions on these countries. They didn't see it by the time. This is just a face-saving measure. There is serious leadership failure in ECOWAS, which can be traced to the chairman, Tinubu. The way he argued and recommended the lifting of sanctions, and the ECOWAS leaders adopted everything. He should have used the same powers, the same influence in the beginning to make sure that everything was resolved amicably. But instead, he went on to threaten the Nigerian military to quit power as if they were his subordinates, as if they were not a sovereign country. All that has come crashing down. He has stepped down from his high horse. He has now understood that military men are better than him in foreign relations and geopolitics. ECOWAS has never been divided like the way they are today. All that can be traced to his leadership failure since he became chairman. The division started in ECOWAS because of his actions. Just like what he is doing in Nigeria, he removed petrol subsidy without even forming a federal cabinet. The federal cabinet would have at least looked at all the options, a fallback position, in case the petrol subsidy boomerangs on the Nigerian economy. Nigeria has been subsidizing petrol for many decades. Removing the subsidy without a plan will be catastrophic as it is being experienced in Nigeria right now. A federal cabinet or committee would have at least studied the situation, made recommendations. Okay, if this one doesn't work, we'll fall back to this one will support this one will do that. They would have come up with a comprehensive solution in case the outright removal of petrol subsidy boomerangs on the Nigerian economy. So it is obvious that it is not working, it is harming Nigeria's economy. When is he going to come down from his high horse and drop the arrogance and reverse the petrol subsidy? That's not the only policy he needs to reverse. He needs to reverse the Naira float. He can't just wake up and float the Naira without setting up a committee to research on the options. What if it tanks the Nigerian economy? What if this happens? How are we going to mitigate this? These are things that should be done after making a lot of research. Even Buhari, who is a former military general, he has never operated in the private sector, he's not an economist. He understands better than Tinubu that floating the Naira without having a production-based economy will tank your economy very fast, like it has been witnessed in Nigeria. Since the past 8 months, look at the price of goods in the market since the Naira float regime started. Most of the prices have tripled in the market. Leading to a high cost of living. And Nigerians are already protesting from the north to the south. They have been protesting, calling on the government to reverse these measures so that they can make further research and see how they will implement them going forward. Something like petrol subsidy needs to be implemented gradually, not instant cutoff. For example, if they are spending $1 billion per annum on petrol subsidy, they need to start reducing it gradually, not cutting it off instantly. No economy in the world will survive such instant removal. You wake up one day, the price of petrol at the filling station has tripled. It never works. And before they even talk about removing subsidy, they need to make sure that alternative energy sources exist before starting the removal. In India, they manufacture brand new cars that are only powered by CNG. That's how high the penetration of CNG in their economy. So these are the things they should make sure that is in place before talking about subsidy removal. Anyone can do something wrong. All leaders are not infallible. No one is perfect. But the problem arises when the leader says that something he did is wrong, that it is not working, and still refuses to reverse it. At least they were able to see reason after these countries humiliated the ECOWAS leaders. They were forced to reverse and lift the sanctions. Of course, we all know they were working for France or maybe another country to make sure they forced the Nigerian military out of power. But the Nigerians were able to weather the storm. Before we see the full list of sanctions lifted by ECOWAS on Niger Republic, it's important to understand that Nigeria exercises a soft power in West Africa, but it has been losing that soft power because of trial and error policies, aggressive and arrogant policies against neighboring countries. The cutting off of electricity supply to Niger Republic, despite having an agreement with them that it shouldn't be cut without warning, is already a signal that Nigeria was fighting them without ECOWAS involvement. If he handled it responsibly in the beginning, Nigeria would have been able to resolve whatever happened in Niger Republic without even involving ECOWAS. That's the soft power Nigeria exercises over Niger. It's a mutual respect between two neighboring countries. And the Nigerians were able to call his bluff. Look at where it has left us. We have been humiliated in the eyes of the world. That's not the only humiliation we suffered recently. A small country like Qatar also humiliated us recently by declining his request to have a business meeting by the sidelines in an event that is holding in Qatar. In the leaked letter that Qatar sent to the Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they said, quote, "The embassy has the honor to inform that the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in Qatar apologizes that it will not be able to hold a business and investment forum as proposed by the Nigerian side. There is no agreement signed between the State of Qatar and the Federal Republic of Nigeria on investment promotion and protection. The State of Qatar will be hosting a web summit during the suggested period, and the state's authorities will be preoccupied with this event." Unquote. So whether they wanted to hold this forum by the sidelines in Qatar just for propaganda purposes, because how can they plan a meeting without having prior meetings? Countries do this, but they keep talking before they say, okay, let's finalize it. Let's hold a meeting where we both announce that look at what we are doing, look at the investment we are bringing to this country and all that. Qatar is a very small country, but they've managed their wealth very well. They have one of the highest GDP per capita in the world. That's unlike Nigeria. Obviously, Nigeria didn't manage their oil wealth very well. That's why they have one of the poorest people in the world. So it's very, very disgraceful that they are begging a small country to hold meetings with them when they can look back inwards in Nigeria and try to do the best they can. All the money they are wasting, taxing everywhere, is not just by taxing. When conglomerates are running away from your country, they are packing their bags, even local businesses are folding. Who are you going to tax? It is time to start investing in Nigeria's economy to create employment so that people that are newly employed will pay tax to the government. That's how it works. If they are able to solve insecurity, that will ensure that farmers go back to their farms. And you will have more production of food, which will definitely drive down the price of food. But they are more interested in buying cars for National Assembly members, renovating homes that no one lives in, and wasting a lot of money that they should have used and invested in Nigeria's economy. All the travels, he's going to Qatar in March, all the travels Nigeria doesn't benefit. What value are all these travels adding to Nigeria's economy? Why not sit back at home and find solutions to all the problems? Not even just existing problems, the one they created since they came to power. They should reverse all these failed policies, at least to leave the economy where they met it. The economy was doing a little bit better in January last year. The exchange rate was at about 750 naira to a dollar. Today it's above 1,800 naira to a dollar. Now let's see the sanctions they lifted on Niger Republic. All the closure of land and air borders have been lifted between ECOWAS and Niger Republic. No-fly zone for commercial flights to and fro Niger Republic between ECOWAS and Niger Republic has been lifted. Suspension of all commercial and financial transactions between ECOWAS member states and Niger Republic has also been lifted. Freezing of all service transactions, including energy transactions, has been lifted. Freezing of assets of Niger Republic in all ECOWAS central banks has been lifted. Likewise, their state enterprises and parastatals in commercial banks has been lifted. Suspension of Niger Republic from all financial assistance and transactions with all financial institutions has been lifted. Imposition of travel bans on the military officials and their families involved in the coup attempt, including anyone who accepts to take the position in the military government, all have been lifted. What remains now is to see how they will respond, because all these requests were made by them several times, but the ECOWAS leaders refused to listen. We will keep you updated when they respond. Thanks for watching.